In the early hours of a cold Washington morning, the lights inside the Pentagon burn bright, and behind those walls, decisions are being made that will shape the global balance of power and the future of American money. In 2022, as the war in Ukraine shocked the world, defense leaders realized that the era of cheap security was over, and that realization triggered the largest military spending surge since the Cold War. By 2023, the United States defense budget crossed $858 billion, the highest in history, and in 2024, it climbed even higher, pushing toward $900 billion. For the average American, these numbers feel distant, but for investors, workers, and companies, this shift is rewriting the rules of opportunity and risk. From the halls of Congress to the factory floors of Texas and Arizona, a new arms race is quietly reshaping the economy. At the center of this story stands Lloyd Austin, the former defense secretary, who repeatedly warned lawmakers that modern wars would be fought with advanced technology, massive logistics, and relentless production. His message was clear: America must rebuild its military strength to face China, Russia, Iran, and emerging threats from cyber warfare and artificial intelligence. In 2021, supply chains cracked under pressure, and the Pentagon realized it could not produce enough missiles, drones, and ammunition for a long conflict. That fear became reality in 2022, when Ukraine burned through years of Western stockpiles in months. Suddenly, factories that once ran on limited schedules were ordered to operate around the clock. Companies like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon Technologies, Northrop Grumman, and General Dynamics became the backbone of a new industrial surge. Lockheed Martin ramped up production of the F-35 fighter jet, the most advanced combat aircraft in the world. Raytheon accelerated the manufacturing of Patriot missile systems, which became crucial for defending Ukrainian cities. Northrop Grumman expanded its work on stealth bombers and next-generation missile defense. General Dynamics pushed forward with submarine construction and armored vehicle upgrades. Each contract was worth billions, and each deal echoed across the stock market. In 2023, defense stocks began to outperform the broader market, even as technology and consumer stocks struggled. Investors searching for safety and stability poured money into military contractors, betting that geopolitical tension would not fade anytime soon. Behind every stock chart, there were real people finding new jobs, learning new skills, and returning to towns that had once lost their manufacturing base. In Alabama, missile plants reopened and hired thousands. In Arizona, semiconductor and radar facilities expanded. In Pennsylvania, steel and alloy producers saw orders surge. This was not just about weapons, but about rebuilding an entire industrial ecosystem. The story deepened in 2024, when Congress approved new long-term defense programs aimed at countering China's growing military power in the Pacific. Billions were allocated for naval fleets, space defense, hypersonic weapons, and cybersecurity. The Pentagon began investing heavily in artificial intelligence systems capable of analyzing battlefield data in seconds. Silicon Valley, once distant from military projects, suddenly became a critical partner in national defense. Companies like Palantir and smaller AI startups entered the defense world with cutting-edge software and autonomous systems. The line between tech and defense blurred. This fusion of software and firepower created a new generation of defense spending that reached far beyond tanks and missiles. In 2025, military budgets included funding for satellite networks, quantum encryption, and drone swarms. The battlefield was no longer just land, sea, and air, but also space and cyberspace. Each expansion opened new investment avenues and new risks. Yet, this boom came with heavy emotional weight. Families watched news from Ukraine, Gaza, and the South China Sea, realizing that rising defense budgets reflected real global fear. Every missile built represented both protection and the potential for destruction. For investors, this raised ethical questions alongside financial ones. Can profit and peace coexist? Can security spending stabilize the world, or does it fuel endless cycles of conflict? History offers lessons. After World War II, America's military buildup helped create decades of relative stability and economic growth. The Cold War defense race produced technological breakthroughs like the internet, GPS, and advanced aviation. But it also drained resources and heightened global tensions. Today's military expansion walks the same narrow path. The timeline reveals a clear pattern. In 2001, after the September 11th attacks, defense spending soared. By 2010, military contractors dominated federal budgets. In 2014, after Russia annexed Crimea, spending climbed again. In 2022, the Ukraine invasion ignited the largest surge yet. Each crisis reshaped markets and investor behavior. Now, analysts predict that U.S. defense budgets will remain elevated well into the 2030s. China's naval expansion, Russia's military revival, and Middle Eastern instability all reinforce this outlook. Wall Street firms like Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley have repeatedly highlighted defense as a long-term growth sector. Exchange-traded funds focused on aerospace and defense have seen record inflow. Retirement portfolios, hedge funds, and institutional investors are steadily increasing their exposure. Yet, smart investors know that no sector is immune to volatility. Government contracts depend on political winds, election cycles, and public opinion. A shift in policy or a diplomatic breakthrough can instantly reshape spending priorities. Diversification remains critical. Understanding the technology behind the weapons is just as important as tracking budgets. Artificial intelligence, space defense, cybersecurity, and advanced manufacturing are the real engines of this boom. The companies that master these fields will define the next decade of military power and financial performance. For everyday Americans, the impact is personal. Jobs, wages, regional growth, and national security are deeply connected to this spending wave. The military buildup is not just about defense, but about reshaping the American economy in a world of uncertainty. The financial takeaway is clear. Long-term investors should study defense contractors, technology partners, and supply chain companies with patience and discipline. Short-term traders must respect volatility and geopolitical risk. Everyone should understand that defense spending reflects global instability, and profits often rise when fear spreads. The deeper lesson is about resilience. America's strength has always come from its ability to adapt, innovate, and rebuild. This new military buildup is another chapter in that long story. But the choices made today will shape not only markets, but the moral direction of the nation. As defense budgets climb higher and technology grows more powerful, the world stands at a crossroads between protection and provocation. The final question remains: will this unprecedented surge in military spending create lasting security and shared prosperity, or will it lock the world into a permanent cycle of fear and conflict?